It's the PlayOnSports.com pregame show live from Mesa College in San Diego, California. I'm Brian Vilbin with Andrew Lockard on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Tonight's matchup of undefeated teams features the visiting Otay Ranch Mustangs against the host St. Augustine Saints. Otay Ranch comes into tonight's game with a record of 3-0, and the home team, St. Augustine, is also 3-0. And Andrew, when we look at this matchup of two undefeated teams here in the San Diego section, both of the teams built kind of out of a similar mold. They've got great ground games, big offensive lines, and running backs who have rushed for big yardage this season.
You're right, Brian. I think we're looking at, first and foremost, a much improved Otay Ranch team. They finished last season with a regular season record, that is, of 5-5. And this season they're already looking at 3-0, so they're a much improved team. If I had to parse a difference between the two, I think in the passing game, the Otay Ranch Mustangs, they're a little more focused on passing to Martin, their wide receiver, whereas on St. Augustine, they have more of a spread passing. Otherwise, they look like very similar teams. So we're going to have probably a very tight game. And speaking to some of the coaching staff of the Mustangs beforehand, it might come down to a special teams game as who can play the better special teams game on the field. They might come out on top.
Well, we've got in these special teams battle, a lot of times when it's a close matchup like this, it'll come down to kickers and to punters. For St. Augustine, the kicker Nick Sinclair is replacing one of the best kickers that we've seen in section history in Seamus McMorrow, who finished his time at St. Augustine last year and now is kicking for San Diego State. So Sinclair's got some big shoes to fill there, and Joe Maloof will do the punting duties for St. Augustine. On the Otay Ranch side, the punter is Carlos Medrano and the kicker Andres Burgoyne. So those are names that we're going to be hearing a lot today, and those are the guys, Andrew, that you're saying the balance of the game might come down to those four players.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, talking to both coaching staffs before the game as well, they both said the same thing. They're going to try and stop the other team's running game. That's both teams' strengths, so it might come down to a little bit of that, a little bit of special teams, and we'll see what happens.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for tonight's PlayOnSports.com pregame show. We'll be back with the kickoff in just a few minutes. Friday Night Football begins next on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Welcome back to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com. Coming to you live from San Diego, California. I'm Brian Vilvin with Andrew Lockhart on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. And we're underway between two undefeated teams. The St. Augustine Saints faking the handoff on the opening kickoff, and it looked like Dominique Morgan, the speedster that they just got back from an injury. If he breaks that ankle tackle, he could have taken that one to the house. But we're underway here. 3-0 versus 3-0, two of the top teams in the section. The St. Augustine Saints with the purple jerseys, purple pants, white numbering, and white trim with the beautiful gold helmets. The Otay Ranch Mustangs in the white jerseys, white pants with navy helmets and light blue trim. A couple of nice-looking uniforms out there as JoJo Hudson brings the St. Augustine Saints to the line. He's got Tyler Herberger as the back in the backfield. Two tight end set. Herberger's going to get the look, and he's got 8 yards on first down. Call it 9, and he's close to that first down.
And Herberger is just an excellent running back on the Saints. He's the cornerstone of this offense, and they're going to be looking a lot to him tonight. And the Mustangs are going to be looking to try and shut him down.
Second down and short for the St. Augustine Saints. Just underway here in the first quarter. Man in motion right to left. That's Ethan Sanchez. The handoff once again will go to Herberger, and Tyler Herberger's met right at the line of scrimmage. Great push up front by the Otay Ranch defense.
And that's what the defensive line on the Mustangs is going to be looking to do. I mentioned it last play as well. They're trying to shut down Herberger. And Herberger, it seems like he likes to run those routes right up the middle. That's what they usually go with him. So that they can find a way to just stuff him up the middle. It's going to be some interesting chess match going on here in terms of play calling on both sides.
Chris Rios, the linebacker leading the charge there, is going to bring up third down and a very short one here for St. Augustine. Hudson at the line. Bunch formation for St. Augustine with a tight end, and in the backfield is the Otay defense. Leading the charge was Dede Cunningham, the senior captain of the defense, and St. Augustine will lose 4 yards. They're going to have to punt.
Yeah, perfectly read by Cunningham. He just charged right up the middle, had that play read like a book, and down went Herberger.
Fourth down and 4 for St. Augustine. And it looked like after that first play, about 9.5 yards for St. Augustine, that they were going to charge that first down easy. And instead, two great pushes up front by the Mustangs. And it's a punting situation for St. Augustine. Joe Maloof in to punt for St. Augustine. And he gets off a nice one. It's going to bounce at the 38-yard line and stop about the 35. So the Otay Ranch Mustangs will have decent field position starting out 1st and 10 on their own 35 for their first possession.
We'll get a first look at the Mustangs offense. Like I said, they like to hit Anthony Williams, Kyle Hawkins being the quarterback. So we'll see a lot of Hawkins, a lot of Williams. That's his preferred target, but also the strong running game. Or excuse me, not Williams. I meant Chris Martin there. Chris Martin is the preferred target. Anthony Williams is the running back, and we're going to see a lot of him as well. So Hawkins, Martin, Williams.
Kyle Hawkins will lead his team to the line. The junior quarterback in the shotgun formation, 5 wide receivers. And he's going to look to throw on first down, firing across the middle. Incomplete, just over the hands of the outstretched Quentin Bell. Nice defensive play made there by St. Augustine to hit Bell when he was trying to come down with that football. And it's going to bring up second down and long for the Mustangs.
That's one of those statement plays. You make it right out of the gate, try and put all the momentum behind you, and didn't quite pan out, though, for the Mustangs.
Second down and 10 for Otay Ranch running the pistol offense. They've got Kyle Hawkins at quarterback with Anthony Williams behind him. Hawkins looking to throw again, and he's got a target. What a catch by Elijah Herrero. Herrero, the senior, tipped that ball up to himself. The pass out just in front of him, and Herrero making a nice athletic play.
Absolutely, an incredible job wrangling that ball in. And it's interesting that they're hitting up the passing game so much early on here, and now they're already well into, well being 2 yards, into the Saints' own territory.
First down and 10 from the St. Augustine 48-yard line. 9.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter. We've got a false start on Otay Ranch. Looked like the tight end on the left-hand side got a little too anxious there and moved early for Otay.
Well, just like that, they're back into their own territory. But still, a strong start, and like I said, those early passing plays, we're just throwing it downfield. Those are statement plays, and they're trying to set the tone for the rest of this game.
I think the officials are seeing that the ball should be marked back one extra yard. They went from 148 to the other 48. I'm pretty sure that only equals 4 on a 5-yard penalty. There we go. Got it all sorted out.
I'm not a math guy.
First down and 15 now instead of 14 after the 5-yard penalty is properly assessed. Hawkins in the shotgun with Williams, dropping back, looking to throw again. And he's knocked. The ball is knocked loose as he was hit and picked up. That was Patrick Lavelle, I believe, on the recovery. And a big hit. Ryan Herberger delivered the blow. Patrick Lavelle picked it up for St. Augustine. And the seniors, who are mirror images of one each other, 5'11", 215, they play like it too, and they've caused a turnover. St. Augustine's going to have it in great territory.
Yeah, turnovers are going to be huge in this game as well. These are both possession teams, and if you can turn over the ball like that, it's going to cost you big. So a great recovery by the Saints, and just like that, this game is swaying back and forth.
9 minutes and 4 seconds to play in the first quarter. Still no score, but a big momentum shift the direction of St. Augustine after the turnover deep in Otay Ranch territory. St. Augustine will have it at the Otay Ranch 27-yard line. Hudson under center. He's got Tyler Herberger as the back. Herberger's touched the ball on all 3 offensive plays for St. Augustine, and he'll get it for a 4th over the right-hand side. Cuts it out. Again, he's going to rip off about 9. Keeps going forward and gets the first down. Move those chains. Tyler Herberger, nice run on first down.
I think that's his best run of the evening so far. He's had just about every touch for his offensive rushes.
Inside the red zone now, St. Augustine looking to make the Mustangs pay for that turnover. And the new back into the backfield will be Elijah Preston, the freshman for St. Augustine. Let's see if Preston gets to hold the football. Hudson has a man in motion right to left. That's Dominique Morgan. Hudson, the lefty, looking to pass, being pressured, flushes out of the pocket, looking back across the middle, and he loses the football, but for St. Augustine, fortunately, the bounce goes out of bounds, and the Saints will retain possession. Wow, Hudson dodged a bullet there.
He certainly did, and that's something that Hudson's been working on, is maintaining possession of the ball. He has kind of a tendency to let it go. The coaching staff was reflecting that he's been better at it this season than in the past, but you got to hold on to it and play like that. Otherwise, you can put yourself in a sticky situation.
So no gain on the play. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10 from the 22-yard line. Herberger back in the game. Man in motion, that's Sanchez left to right. Hudson's going to pitch it to Herberger, and Herberger's got a little bit of space, cuts back. He's across the 10, still on his feet at about the 8-yard line, and pushes forward to the 7. It's going to be close to the first down. I believe he might be about a yard short, but if they can keep getting Herberger, who's averaging almost 150 yards a game, actually just over 150 yards a game, if they can keep getting him on 9, 10-yard rushes, St. Augustine's going to be loving life with 7:55 to go here in the first quarter.
Yeah, when you have a running back that averages more than 153 and some change yards in a game, you're going to keep going to him. And it looks like he's had a lot of success on the outside, not so much on the inside. It seems like Otay Ranch has really plugged that part of the field up.
Eric Clark in at fullback. We got a bunch formation, 1 receiver to the far side, tight ends to either side for St. Augustine, and Herberger in the backfield. He's going to get the ball. He's going to cut across the middle, stays on his feet, across the 5, still on his feet, and into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Augustine. Tyler Herberger getting it done. Looked like he was stopped about the 3, but there's no quit in this kid, and he's got himself 6 points. The St. Augustine Saints lead it.
And that's Herberger's 7th touchdown of the season, and he earned every inch of that run. He had to muscle his way into the end zone. Incredible run by Herberger.
On to attempt the extra point, Nick Sinclair. Good snap, good hold, kick is up, and it is good. That was Jack Hoffbauer with the hold, and Ryan Herberger with the snap. Sinclair with the extra point, and St. Augustine leads at 7-0 with 7:23 to play in the first quarter. on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for Friday night football.
And today's game is brought to you by California Printing Consultants, your one-stop printing source for all of your printing needs. Call CPC toll-free at 866-484-4039. That's 866-484-4039. Or visit their website at www.cpcfirst.net for your next printing project. Also see CPC on the St. Augustine team page on PlayOnSports.com and click on the CPC icon. Online print buying has never been this easy.
Brian Vilvin and Andrew Lockhart bringing you all the action from Mesa College, where the St. Augustine Saints have an early 7-0 lead over the Otay Ranch Mustangs. And Andrew, St. Augustine has rushed the ball on just about every play. The one pass that they were looking to throw, Hudson lost the football, so a rush technically on every single play as Nick Sinclair kicks this one into the end zone for a touchback. And that's something St. Augustine wanted to do. In years past, Saints has tried to establish their passing game to open up the rush. And this year, it's a little different mentality where they're using the rush to try to open up the passing game.
So they're rushing first, asking questions later, Brian.
Which is very different from the approach St. Augustine has had in the past. They've had some of the best quarterbacks in town.
Absolutely.
Coming through there. JoJo Hudson's got some big shoes to fill, but the junior doing a very nice job of it right now. And his Saints are on top 7-0.
Well, it's a tactical decision, too, that you keep that passing game up your sleeve. So if they find a way to sniff it out, slow it down, you still get that passing game to fall back on.
Hawkins hands the ball off. Nice move by Justin Doughton. And Doughton's going to push forward for a gain of about 8. And, excuse me, that was not Doughton. That was Anthony Williams, the premier tailback for the Otay Ranch attack. And he'll pick up 9 yards on first down. Will bring up 2nd down and 1 for the Mustangs.
And Williams averages more than 100 yards a game so far early in this season, so he's quite a force.
And it's so tough with this Otay Ranch pistol offense. They spread out the field, and then they've got such speed, and it seems like a lot of open space to be able to hit the hole. And Kyle Hawkins does a nice job monitoring this offense. Got Anthony Williams as the lone back in the backfield. Hawkins is going to give it to him, and he looks to break a couple of tackles. He broke the first tackle of Derek Vieira, but he was met near the line of scrimmage, and I don't think he got a yard, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 1 for the Mustangs.
And it's like we mentioned earlier, Brian, both teams mentioned that they're going to focus on stopping the opposing side's running game. That's what they're focused on doing here, and so far, looks like Otay Ranch has been successfully stopped by the Saints. They found a way to make Herberger work.
3rd down and a short 1, but they go to that shotgun spread formation. 3 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. Man in motion right to left. That's Wiskowski. And the handoff's going to go that way. And Damian Wiskowski is snuffed out in the backfield. Otay Ranch is going to lose a couple of yards, and it'll bring up 4th down in a punting situation. We'll see Carlos Medrano for the Mustangs.
I think that was Quinn Seau who led the rush there. Excellent tackle by him.
A lot of freshmen on this St. Augustine roster, and a lot of them get playing time. Pretty impressive stuff for a school that has yet to lose a game on the season, and they've got 3 or 4 contributing freshmen. Dominique Morgan, who's just back off of injury, the senior, will be back deep for St. Augustine. Again, Carlos Medrano will do the punting duties for Otay Ranch. And he gets off a beauty, nice and high. Morgan's going to try to field it at the 35. Cut back is field, and he is met at the 33-yard line. Great defensive play in pursuit. Steven Alexander, the special teams captain, a senior with a beautiful wrap-up tackle.
And like you mentioned, it's Dominic Morgan's first game back. We were speaking to head coach Richard Sanchez, and they said they're going to throw him right in the fire. They're not going to take it easy on him this game. And you saw a little bit of that right there.
Well, you've got a guy with such tremendous speed and talent. Last year we saw Morgan play a lot of defensive back, and then the few times he got his number called on offense, he was pretty explosive. And they've got some big shoes to fill on that offensive side, losing Nicholas Gonzalez, one of the fastest players in the country, a state champion in track. So Some big shoes to fill there, as it looks like we had a jump early. I don't know if that was against St. Augustine or Otay Ranch. I believe they're going to get the Saints.
Yeah, it looks like on the far side of the field, far side of your screen, a player got called off a little bit early. But almost hard to tell from up here who was instigated that.
The 5-yard penalty assessed. 4+1. First down and 15 to go for St. Augustine from their own 28-yard line. Hudson under center with Tyler Herberger as the lone back. 2 receivers far side, 1 near. He's going to look to pass, and he is sacked in the backfield. We've also got a penalty flag, but that was big Rashid Farha, the junior, with the sack, and St. Augustine loses big yardage on first down.
Yeah, Farha was coming off the blind side, too. I don't think Hudson even really saw him coming. But we'll see what happens with the flag. Penalty marker was thrown right around the 25-yard line.
Holding by the offense, but the penalty is refused. So a loss of 6 on the play is going to bring up second down and 21 for the St. Augustine offense. So it's nice when you can decline a holding penalty if you're the defense. Not very often that you get to do that. The fullback for the Saints, once again, is Eric Clark. Man in motion left to right is Ethan Sanchez. And the ball is stripped out of Hudson's hands. What a job of recovering it. JoJo Hudson may have just made the play of the night for St. Augustine. Wow, I don't know how he came up with that ball. The defensive front was in there right away as soon as the ball was snapped. And he was trying to hand it off to Tyler Herberger, but the defense nearly ripped it out of his hands. The ball was floating on the ground, and somehow Hudson came away with it.
Something was going wrong on the offensive line on that play because there was no coverage to protect Hudson. It looks like he was almost juggling the ball as he went down to come up with that. And you know that if Otay Ranch had recovered that, they likely would have gotten 6 points out of it.
So that's a huge, huge save by Hudson. It's third down and forever for St. Augustine, but they'll take that versus 6 points for the other side. We'll see if they keep the ball on the ground here, and they do with Herberger. He's just going to try to pick up some yardage. He does. I think we've got another holding penalty about to be called on St. Augustine. If you're Otay Ranch, you can refuse this one as well, and it'll be fourth down for the Saints. They'll have to punt.
They were just looking to pick up some yardage to help out their punt. I don't think they were expecting Herberger to actually traverse half the field. But it looks like the penalty marker was thrown right around the 15-yard line. It's going to be a hold on the Saints.
And the penalty's refused again. Andrew, I don't know if I've ever seen a drive that's 3 plays long and 2 holding penalties are refused by the defense. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
We'll get the intern to look up the stats on that. But, yeah, that is something rare.
We'll send the intern right on it right now.
I think I'm the intern, actually.
2 defensive holding refusals. That's a mouthful. I don't think I said that correctly. Joe Maloof to punt it away for St. Augustine. And this one goes off the side of his foot, bounces at the 45, but takes a St. Augustine bounce where it's picked up by Otay Ranch. What a smart play by Chris Martin. And Martin's going to take it to the house. 5 touchdown Otay Ranch. Chris Martin's going to get a penalty for showboating in the end zone, but the 6 points will count for the Mustangs. What a play as that ball was picked up near midfield, and Chris Martin had a couple of tackles to break and took it to the house.
First of all, that was an athletic celebration if I've ever seen one. Second of all, we saw them actually, the Otay Ranch Mustangs, they were out there practicing picking up the ball off punts before the game, and I think you saw that work out. It was a favorable bounce for St. Augustine, but an incredible pickup from Martin to not only find the reins on that ball and hold on to it, then run the whole way down the field. So an excellent play by him, and that practicing, that special teams panning out for Otay Ranch.
Well, that's where coaching comes into play. Head coach Anthony Laxina for the Mustangs, and he's got to be pleased with what they were doing out there on the field beforehand because it just earned his team 6 points. Now the question is whether or not St. Augustine wants this penalty to be enforced on the extra point or on the kickoff. Do you want to force them to kick a 35-yard PAT, or do you want better field position for your offense? It looks like St. Augustine will opt for the field position battle, and the Mustangs and Andres Burgoyne will attempt the extra point from the standard spot right at the 10-yard line.
I think that's a smart call, too.
Nearly blocked. We see the speed of Dominique Morgan there, but Andres Burgoyne kicks it through the uprights, and the Otay Ranch Mustangs have tied it up. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left to play in the first quarter. We're tied at 7 from Mesa College on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the PlayOn Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to PlayOnSports.com/SBP.
Chris Martin with the 50-yard punt return for a touchdown. 48 yards officially on the call. So Martin with a huge explosive play. And we knew there was going to be some explosive talent out on the field. Chris Martin showing us why right there. The senior breaking the game open here, tying the score up, at 7 apiece. And that's just what the doctor ordered after a great defensive stand. Otay Ranch pushed St. Augustine back 25 yards on that drive and then run the punt back for a touchdown. So if it comes down to special teams right now, Otay Ranch is in the lead.
Yeah, we'll put one on the notch for Otay Ranch in the special teams department, but an excellent recovery, and I think a foresightful move by the coaching staff of the Mustangs to realize that was going to be a potential issue in this game, and to have their players practice those catches on punts specifically. So just a great read by the coaching staff, and it paid off in spades.
Well, when we were down there talking to them beforehand, they said it was going to come down to special teams. Both squads knew that was going to be the case, and now Otay Ranch, after the taunting penalty, the unsportsmanlike conduct, are going to have to kick off from their own 25, so St. Augustine should get some great field position here. Morgan's going to pick it up at the 20, and he's got a lot of space in front of him and a couple of blockers. Makes a man miss at the 35, still on his feet at the 40, back across the 45 and across midfield down to the 43-yard line. So, Andrew, a huge, huge penalty against the Mustangs. Instead of being able to kick a touchback there, they have to kick it to the speedy Dominique Morgan, and Morgan makes him pay the price. St. Augustine's in great position at the Otay Ranch 43.
And they might be regretting that penalty going into the end zone, but either way, incredible run from Morgan. Morgan, who is, like we mentioned several times, it's his first game back, and that's his first great display in this game.
And I've been calling the fullback as Eric Clark. I apologize. It's Francois Sims, also a freshman. So another big freshman contributing for St. Augustine, a 210-pound freshman. So he doesn't play like it out on the field, as Herberger is met right at the line of scrimmage. Great push up front by the Mustangs. And right now, Otay Ranch is winning the battle. Justin Doughton in there from the linebacker spot. Right now, they're winning that line of scrimmage.
And it looks like Herberger's actually still on the ground. That could be a serious, serious blow to St. Augustine if he is injured. Looks like he's holding his right leg.
Not something you want to see, an injury to any player, especially the star player coming into this game. A guy with 7 touchdowns already in 3 games plus less than a full quarter. 2.5 minutes to play here in the first quarter. But you never want to see something like that with Tyler Herberger. And behind him is Elijah Preston, who's just a freshman. So if Herberger goes out, then you've got Elijah Preston at running back, Francois Sims at fullback, and a junior quarterback who's only played in 3 games so far. So a very young offensive backfield for St. Augustine if Herberger indeed has to sit out for a little while here in this game.
Well, potential upside of that, the kids on the Saints team have looked good, Brian. We've been mentioning that they are contributing, so there might be something special they actually have deeper on the roster. But if you lose one of your premier running backs, one of the premier running backs in the whole section, that's hard to come back from.
And right now, I mean, the story so far from a defensive perspective is that push that the Otay Ranch Mustangs are getting up front. Their front seven in that 3-4 defense are really getting into the backfield. We already saw one of the defenders took the ball basically out of JoJo Hudson's hands and nearly walked into the end zone with it. Hudson making a nice athletic play to hang on to the football. But right now, Otay Ranch is winning the battle up front. The reason St. Augustine has the ball in such great field position was after the Martin penalty. But other than that, the Otay Ranch defense has looked great.
They have, and they've really found a way to penetrate the offensive line of the Saints. Hudson's been under a lot of pressure. We haven't really seen him get off anything too impressive passing-wise. It's been mostly Herberger on the ground getting things done for the Saints offense. But that's something we're going to have to, or rather, something the Saints are going to have to work on going forward, is finding some protection for Hudson, because he does have a tendency to let that ball slip if he gets hit pretty hard. So we'll see what kind of adjustment they make. I have to mention, too, Justin Doughton did a good job capturing Herberger on that play.
And right now, the training staff is tending to the injured Tyler Herberger down on the field. So we hope that everything is all right. It's been a bit of an extended break here with 2:35 to play in the first quarter. And something like this you never want to see, and they've been down there for a long time.
Yeah, it tends to be if a player isn't up and around by this point that it might actually be something
a little more serious.
A little more serious. I don't want to speculate. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, not a licensed doctor.
Well, we hope for the best for Tyler Herberger. It's a packed house here on both sides. We've got a lot of fanfare for two of the best teams in the San Diego section in St. Augustine and Otay Ranch, both undefeated and top 10 ranked teams here in San Diego. So a lot of excitement coming into this Friday night matchup, and you hate to see one of the premier players in the section go down with an injury here in the first quarter.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned in the pregame, this is a very much improved Otay Ranch team. Last season, 5-5, they were playing 500 football, and this season they're already off to a 3-0 start. And all of those wins have been on the road as well. They haven't even been at home yet.
Open up the season with 4 straight road games, and a lot of times for a team, it's really tough to handle that type of stretch being away from home. And the Otay Ranch Mustangs, they seem up to the challenge. And in talking to the staff before the game, they were saying that they're really surprised at how well the team has reacted to being on the road. It's tough to, take those hour-plus bus rides to all of these venues. The Otay Ranch Mustangs opened up at Elsinore to start the season, which, for them is a couple hours away. They won 26-21 against a really good Southern Section team there. Then they won at Mount Miguel 37-12, and they followed that up with a win at Mar Vista 35-13 last week. St. Augustine also opened up on the road. They won at Carlsbad week 1, 23-13. They won at Steel Canyon 27-21 in week 2. That was a big victory for the Saints. And then last week had a really tough one down at Mater Dei Catholic, a much improved Mater Dei Catholic team, and they won that one 28-10. So both of these teams opened up with 3 straight road wins, and that really tests your mettle, having to start your entire season off on the road.
Absolutely. Those road ones are not fun to play. Like you said, the travel takes a toll. You're against a hostile crowd. You're in less familiar field conditions and everything. So it really is a testament to both of these teams being able to put up those early road wins, especially this early in the season. You never want to start on the road because you got a little bit of kinks to work out early in the season, just in terms of communication, getting the new players into the system, because these high school teams really don't have a whole lot of time to prepare going into the season, as you do see with professional teams, college teams. So it's a testament that both these teams can come out to such great starts.
Again, we're in an injury timeout here. Tyler Herberger, the star running back for St. Augustine, down on the field. And he's being tended to by the doctors and a couple of his teammates in there to check on him. James Philly, one of the offensive linemen, a senior, going to talk to his star back to see how he's doing. And again, we don't want to speculate being this far up, but They've been down there quite some time. Looked like they were getting potentially an air cast or something like that. They're pumping down there. So they've got the crutches and the cart over on the sideline. So you hate to see that for Tyler Herberger. And for both of these teams, Andrew, when you're on such an extended break like this and you see a player down injured on the field, nothing you can do about it, how tough is it to stay in the game? We've got a great game right now. You know, we're 10 minutes into it, and it's 7-7, and we've had a lot of explosive plays on either side. How tough is it going to be to turn that switch back on into football mode after being out for, over 10 minutes here?
It's tough to come back from that. Something I always harp on is momentum, and this kills any sort of momentum on both sides. You're almost sitting there speculating about the injury, how the future of the game is going to go, and it dries that whole lake up, and all of a sudden you got to start over, and it's tough to come back from that. You get a little cold in terms of, your muscles start to tighten up. You're not as loose, so it's tough to come back from, and especially it's going to be tough to come back from for the Saints, who are losing arguably their best player and one of the best players in the section.
The officials cleaning up some leftover debris that's out there on the field as Herberger takes his crutches to the sideline, and now the Saints offense has to get back in the mix. We talk about it, the freshman Elijah Preston will be pressed into extra duty here, probably more than he thought he would see, and this young St. Augustine team is going to have to respond.
Well, Preston, an opportunity to step up. And like you mentioned, he probably wasn't expecting this to happen tonight. So a good chance for him to come in, fill up some big shoes, see if he can make a statement for his team.
Well, we'll get you back to where we are. It's second down and long for St. Augustine. JoJo Hudson, the quarterback, he drops back to pass, and he's nearly hit. He is hit, but he gets the ball away to the freshman, and the freshman Preston reverses field. He's at the 40. He's got a block, and the Otay Ranch fans want a block in the back there. He gets back just across midfield. He's going to lose 5 on the play, but the Mustang fans are griping. They thought there was a block in the back there. They might have a case.
I think they have a strong argument there, and you can probably hear them on the microphones expressing their discontent with that non-call. But either way, that was a whole lot of lateral movement, not a lot of longitudinal movement. So
Preston had to run about 130 yards there to lose 5. Just under a minute and a half to play here in the first quarter, 7-7. Third down and 16, maybe 15 for St. Augustine. Hudson looking to pass, gets this one off, and it's intercepted at the 20-yard line. And still on his feet with some room to run, and brought down at the 43-yard line is who else but Chris Martin. Martin with his second big-time play here in this game. He had a punt return for a touchdown earlier, and this time he picks a pass off, and Chris Martin came to play for Otay Ranch.
That was not a good throw. That was about 10 yards off from the intended receiver. It almost seemed like he was trying to hit Martin on that play, but Martin just was in the right place at the right time. Not a good pass, though, from Hudson.
Kyle Hawkins will lead the Mustang offense out on the field. Looked like a lot of defenders there, and Hudson kind of just threw that one up for grabs. But it does work almost like a punt on third down and long. Hawkins throwing deep over the far side, incomplete, intended for Quentin Bell. Nice defensive coverage there by Dominique Morgan.
And something we should mention, too, is that Herberger, while he may be, a big part of the Saints offense, he isn't the entire Saints offense. We've seen Hudson make some incredible plays. He's a very gifted quarterback, and they also have a lot of great receivers that they can look to. So they're not, totally disabled with the loss of Herberger. They still have quite a few assets.
And I misspoke there. That was Frank Buncombe, the sophomore in coverage. Buncombe plays defensive back on the other side across from Morgan. As Kyle Hawkins calls his own number, stays on his feet, gets close to midfield. A pickup of 5.5 yards will bring up third down and 5 for the Mustangs. right around midfield. And this is going to be a huge third down for Otay Ranch. Got to keep the drive alive after a big turnover. You'd hate to give it back to St. Augustine, but right around midfield here, this might be 4-down territory for the Mustangs.
Yeah, I think they can get this done too. Hawkins, we've seen obviously making a good run for himself right there, but we haven't seen the passing game of the Mustangs click so very well so far, so we might see him turn to that.
3rd down and 5. They've got a screen pass set up for Anthony Williams, the swing route, and he gets across the 40, still on his feet, and takes it all the way down to the 36-yard line. A big pickup of 15 for the Mustangs. They needed 5. They got 15. And with 17 seconds left to play in the first quarter, it's going to be a first down in St. Augustine territory. But I believe we've got a penalty flag here, so hold the presses. Illegal block, chop block against the Otay Ranch offense. So instead of having first down and 10 in St. Augustine territory, they're going to have 3rd down and long in their own territory.
That's too bad because that was an incredible play from Williams. He had all sorts of room on the near side of the field, and then he was able to stretch and get a couple more yards on top of that, despite having a lot of pressure on him. And unfortunately, that all goes for naught.
3rd down and 15 for the Mustangs. Hawkins has Williams with him in the backfield. 2 receivers to either side. Drops back to pass, looking for the screen. They've got it set up, and he's got some space. Gets close to midfield. That was the original line of scrimmage, so they're going to be 5 yards short of the first down at their own 49-yard line. And that will be the last play of the first quarter, so it'll be decision time for Coach Anthony Lexina when they come back to start the second quarter. It'll be 4th down and 5 right near midfield. It won't be a long change for the down and 8 coming up for the Mustangs. And we'll see if they elect to open things up a little bit. Both teams that came in with those big rushing attacks having a hard time getting that rushing attack going. So we'll see if they try to stick with it and control the clock now that they've got their first lead of the game. This is their first offensive possession with a lead. They run the option play to the left-hand side. Hawkins hangs on to it himself and picks up nearly enough for the first down. I think he's going to be about a yard short out to the 29, but a nice look there by Kyle Hawkins cutting it up the field.
And Hawkins has been a force in and of himself on the running game. We've seen him make a lot of great plays, stretching out the yardage for his team.
3rd down and a yard to go, and this is a huge, huge play for both of these teams. If you're the Saints front, you've got to think run here, and you've got to get a good push. The big fellas up front, Robert DeCourt and Patrick Lavelle, Ryan Herberger, trying to get in there, and they get close to a stop. All the Mustangs needed was the 30-yard line. It's going to be really close. And the officials say move those chains. First down, Otay Ranch.
Oh, just barely snuck that one in, Brian. That was awfully close.
No need to bring the chains out onto the field when you know that white line is the yard to get. So the officials see it on that line and award Otay Ranch a new set of downs. First down and 10 from their own 30. 10 minutes, 20 seconds to play, just underway here in the third quarter. Otay Ranch playing with the lead for the first time tonight. And a handoff over the right-hand side. Anthony Williams, now he's going across the 50, across the 40. One man to beat and dragged down at the 25-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle by Kyle Daly. And right when we say the Otay Ranch running attack hasn't established itself, Anthony Williams breaks one for 40.
Oh, I think you eat crow on that one, Brian. That's how that works. But no, an incredible
45 on the run. Sorry.
Oh, absolutely. Williams, you see how explosive his speed is on the field down there. If he has any open space, he just takes off. And we saw a great demonstration of that right there.
Hawkins in the shotgun. The Otay Ranch fans a buzz and silence on the St. Augustine side. Hawkins puts a man in motion. He's going to call his own number. He's got a few yards, still on his feet down to the 22-yard line. They're going to say he made it all the way down to the 21. So 4-yard pickup on first down for the junior quarterback for Otay Ranch. And Andrew, the Otay Ranch Mustangs looking pretty sharp here in the second half.
Yeah, I think if they just have Hawkins and Williams, they can tag team all the way down the field, just go in tandem, alternating runs, and they might have something going.
Now they're going to go with a little more of a bunch formation than we've seen yet. They've got a fullback in the backfield, Giovanni Mesa, and they're going to pitch it to Anthony Williams. He's snuffed out, but stays on his feet somehow. He evaded 4 St. Augustine defenders in the backfield and made something out of nothing. 4 yards on the pickup to bring up 3rd down and 3. Andrew, I thought he was going to lose yardage on that play, not pick up 4.
Yeah, and you know what? He's fast, like I already mentioned, but he's also really strong. He can just muscle through people, and we saw another good display of his skill sets right there.
8.5 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. Otay Ranch leading St. Augustine by 6 and looking to add to that lead. 3rd down and 3 to go for the Mustangs at the St. Augustine 18-yard line. The yard to get is the 15. Hawkins barking out the call, looking left, firing left, and it's complete. Close to the 1st down. Elijah Herrera with the catch. I think he's going to be about a yard short. And let's see if the Mustangs decide to go for it or attempt a field goal. We know their field goal range right now is about 40 to 50 yards. They said the kicker was hitting them from 50 in warm-ups, so this is well within that range, but it looks like the Mustangs are going to go for it here, keeping the offense on the field. I like it.
I like it too, and I think the way their running game has been going lately, I don't see them having too much of a problem just picking up a yard here. I think the running game has been solid on this drive.
Well, we'll see if Anthony Williams gets the call or if they decide to air it out, or maybe Kyle Hawkins on the draw play. A little bit of confusion on what the set is. Quentin Bell and Chris Martin, the receivers. And we've got a delay of game against Otay Ranch, so they spent a lot of time thinking about it, and then they get the delay. I think it makes it a little easier call here on 4th down and 6 rather than 4th and 1. But it's going to be a 38 or so yard attempt for the Mustangs if they decide to kick this one. It would make it a 2-possession game here. It would make it a 9-point lead. So these 3 points, very important for Otay Ranch.
I think even a field goal, if it does in fact go through, is not a bad outcome for the Mustangs, especially the way that the offense have just been stuck in neutral for the first half of this game. So not a bad outcome.
Andres Burgoyne will attempt the 38-yarder. Nice hold there by Carlos Medrano. The kick is on the way, and it is through the uprights. 38-yarder is good by Burgoyne. Great kick and a huge 3 points for Otay Ranch. They lead it by 9, 23-14, with 7:20 to play in the 3rd quarter on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
And PlayOn Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at PlayOn Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school sports action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Brian Vilvin and Andrew Lockard coming to you live from Mesa College, the home field of the St. Augustine Saints. The Saints trail by 2 possessions for the first time this evening. They allowed a long drive there by Otay Ranch, but got a nice stop, forcing the Mustangs to try to kick a long field goal. And then Andres Burgoyne drills the 38-yarder and puts Otay Ranch up by 2 scores.
That kick barely trickled over, too. Had only about under a foot of clearance going over the middle bar, but a good kick nonetheless.
And they'll take it, especially after that missed extra point earlier. Short kick and mishandled at the 30-yard line, but nice recovery there by St. Augustine. That was Mitch Cohen, the junior, initially lost the handle and then came back up with it around the 30-yard line, where St. Augustine will start out 1st and 10. And the Saints have a long way to march down the field, try to get a score here.
Solid work by Otay Ranch to just shut down any sort of opportunity to pick up more yards on that play.
JoJo Hudson has the freshman Francois Sims in the backfield with him. They're going to hand it off to Sims. Sims cuts back across the middle, picks up about 5 on the play. Nice run. And talk about throwing the freshman into the fire. Francois Sims and Elijah Preston are going to have a lot of pressure riding on them here in the second half to get St. Augustine back into this game.
We've seen a lot of Preston, not as much from Sims. I think we'll get more looks at him in the second half.
Sims gets the call again, still keeping his feet moving, and the 210-pounder barrels forward for about 4 yards. Going to bring up 3rd down and 1 for the Saints. And nice job by Sims picking up 5 and then 4 yards to make it 3rd down and short.
Yeah, good work by Sims, especially a freshman. His first couple big plays with the ball in his hands, doing solid work.
6.5 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. St. Augustine trailing by 9, facing 3rd down and short. They bring in Ryan Herberger at the fullback position. They've still got Sims in the backfield. 2 tight end set, bunch formation for St. Augustine. Hudson under center, hands it off to Sims, and Sims cuts to the right. Nice job across midfield, down to the 45, takes on a defender and gets all the way down to the 39-yard line. 1st down and more. 22 yards on the pickup for the freshman on 3rd and 1. Can't ask for much more if you're St. Augustine.
No, hey, that's a great run by Sims. Sims putting in very high-quality work for his team when called upon.
1st down and 10 inside Mustang territory. At the Otay Ranch 39-yard line, Hudson still got that 2 tight end formation, 2 receivers, 1 to either side. Sims in the backfield. Sims is going to get the call again. He's gotten the ball on every play in this drive. He pays the price for staying up about the 35-yard line, but he'll take that after another pickup of 4. 2nd down and 6 coming up for the Saints.
He's putting in a human effort here, and we haven't even seen a passing attempt yet on this drive. It's been all Sims.
Well, if you can keep getting these nice runs from the freshman, you don't need to put the ball in the air. 5.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. This quarter going by quickly as both of these teams are establishing that ground attack that we saw coming in. Figured they were going to do it in the first half. Sims gets the carry again over the left-hand side, makes the first man miss, and is dragged down at the 29-yard line. He's going to be really close to a 1st down, but what an effort by the freshman following that very senior offensive line for St. Augustine, and he's got a 1st down.
Wow, a great pickup by Sims. And just like that, it seems like they've found finally an answer for their shortcomings of their offense.
1st down and 10 to go, 29-yard line. St. Augustine looking for a big response after Otay Ranch extended their lead. Hudson under center. And this time the handoff's going to go to Preston. Elijah Preston coming in, the lightning to the thunder of Sims, and Preston breaks off his best run of the evening, 9 yards on 1st down. Nice little extra look for St. Augustine, and they've got 2nd down and short coming up. Maybe an opportunity here to try to throw something toward the end zone.
Well, a strange turn of events. The Otay Ranch defensive line was so good in the first half, and now we just see them breaking down against 2 freshman running backs.
Preston stays in the game. He's going to get the carry over the right-hand side, and just like that, the Otay Ranch defenders break through the offensive line and make a huge play. In their first was Chris Rios, and now we've got an injury on the Otay Ranch defensive line. A nice job by Rios going in there. St. Augustine loses a yard on the play. It's going to be 3rd down and a couple to go. But just like that, Otay Ranch needed a big stop from the defense, and they got it, forcing 3rd down for the Saints.
I believe that's Jeremy Gula who's on the ground. It looks like he's in a great deal of pain there. So hopefully he's okay. He's still on the ground right now, so I think we're going to have to take another extended injury timeout, Brian.
Never like to see that. A couple of injuries, one to either team so far here this evening. And for St. Augustine, they face a huge 3rd down coming up here. They trail by 2 scores. They've got to keep this drive sustained. But they are in field goal range. From this distance, it would be about a 40-yarder. We've already seen the Mustangs hit one from close to this distance. And St. Augustine, Nick Sinclair, has kicked a touchback every time, so we know he's got a big leg.
He's got a golden leg. It's going to be a tough kick from this range, though, as you mentioned.
Well, if you're Coach Richard Sanchez and the Saints, you're not even thinking 3 points right now. You're thinking 3 yards and a 1st down. Try to keep this drive sustained. They don't want 3 points. They want 7 points and make this one a much more manageable task.
Looks like both teams out on the field now, although the injured player is not yet back up.
These training staffs both getting a lot of work here this evening, and that's never something you're hoping for when you come to the game.
No, he's still on the ground. He hasn't moved.
And the teams, like you said, both back out onto the field. Now the officials moving the Otay Ranch players off the field. I believe they're probably going to move the St. Augustine players off the field as well. You just hate to see this kind of injury down there on the field. And now both teams have suffered through it. You don't like to see it once in a game, let alone twice. And at this point, you don't even think about momentum or that kind of thing and what's going on the field, because this definitely takes precedent over that.
Absolutely. And we were talking to the coaching staff, both sides, before the game, and they were mentioning that they'd actually had a pretty good streak of health coming into these games, and now it seems like the opposite is going on out on the field, which is just a terrible turn of events.
Yeah, they were saying, to make it to this point in the season, 4 games in now, almost to the midway point, and neither team has really had a significant injury. St. Augustine had, Dominic Morgan out up until this point, but besides that, relatively healthy teams. The Saints had a bout of the flu during the week here, and the players all made it through that, and now the Otay Ranch player being helped off the field by his teammate. And again, that's Jeremy Gula. But they didn't have to bring the card out. That's always a positive. But you just hate to see those injuries out there. Never fun.
Absolutely not. Looks like that's his left leg that was victimized out there, but at least he's getting off the field, and like you said, they don't have to use the cart for that.
Well, we'll try to get back to concentrating on football here. Difficult after injury delays like that, and you're always thinking about the guys on the field. But St. Augustine comes back in with that jumbo package. Now they've got 2 tight ends to either side and a fullback, Herberger, in the game. That's Ryan Herberger. Sims back in at running back again, and Sims is driven down short of the first down yardage. Wow. In there first, making the hit, Justin Dodden for the Otay Ranch defense, and it's 4th down for the Saints.
Sims got his clock cleaned on that play, Brian. Dodden was just spot on, laid him out clean.
And now it's 4th down and 1. Looks like the Saints are going to go for it here, Andrew. What do you think about that?
That's an aggressive play call. At this point, I think they're just trying to get the lead rather than just put up 3 more points. That's very aggressive. I think risky at this point, too. Although they have had success with the ground game, much like Otay Ranch on their last drive, that maybe they think just the conditions are right here.
4th down and a yard to go. 3:15 to play in the third quarter. Fake the handoff. Hudson rolling left. He's got the first down if he wants to run it. He does tuck it down, and he's close to that yardage. I thought it was going to be a sure thing. Instead, the Otay Ranch defense stuffed him. That was Justin Dotton again. It'll depend on the spot. And the officials say he's short of the first down. Otay Ranch takes over on downs. What a hit by Dotton. Wow.
Yeah, he's been hitting hard out there the last couple of plays, and that's awfully close out there.
He's the guy who laid the hit on Sims, and now he hits the quarterback. I thought for sure JoJo Hudson had that first down. Looked like wide open space, and then out of nowhere, Justin Dotton, the junior linebacker, comes in. A captain as a junior. That tells you something about the kid. And now Otay Ranch has got the ball and a 2-possession lead. And they keep it on the ground, this time Williams again. They did a nice job moving the ball with the run earlier in their last drive. And now the clock is what you're playing against if you're Otay Ranch. You want to keep the ball on the ground, keep that clock moving. 2:45 to play in the third quarter, so just under 15 minutes left in this ball game. You've got a 2-possession lead. If you can run 6, 7, 8 minutes off the clock on this sustained drive, if you can get a sustained drive and run that kind of time off,
it'll be really difficult for St. Augustine to come back from 2 scores down.
Absolutely. That would be a big success.
Kyle Hawkins under center, and he's going to drop back and pass. Throwing over the right side, complete, and that one acts, like a run. A short little quick pass to the tight end. That was Javon Fields, a junior, with the reception. He picks up 4 yards. They've got 3rd down and 5 to go. And this is a big, big play for the Saints defense. They've got to get a stop here, get that offense back on the field.
Yeah, they're hoping to pick up the first here, not only to put their team in better field position, keep the drive going, but just to eat up more clock, like you were mentioning, Brian.
1:50 to play, 3rd quarter. Otay Ranch leading by 9. Hawkins under center, and the Saints jump off sides. They got him with the hard count. That's the first time we've seen either team go with the hard count here this evening. And St. Augustine jumped off sides. It'll be interesting to see if that's enough for the first down, as instead they're going to say that was against Otay Ranch. So, excuse me on that one. Nice job by St. Augustine there. They see the Otay Ranch player move, and then they jump off sides. So now instead of a first down, you've got 3rd down and 10 for Otay Ranch, and that really changes things. You pretty much can't keep the ball on the ground here. You're going to have to go to the air, see if you can't get 10 yards off of the right arm of Kyle Hawkins. Williams joins him in the backfield. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers, both sides. Hawkins throwing deep to Martin, and Martin makes the catch. Chris Martin still on his feet at the 35. He's going to take it to the house. 10-5, touchdown, Otay Ranch. Chris Martin once again, this time 80 yards on the touchdown reception. Wow.
I hope you can hear the fans at home because they're exuberant about that. Martin, he had to battle not only to get that ball, but to land on his feet. Both the defensive backs went down trying to wrestle with that ball, managed to come up with it, beat the defensive backs, and just charge all the way to the end zone. And that's Martin at his best.
3 scores is a hat trick. What do you call 4 scores?
7 years ago.
The extra point is up and no good off the crossbar. So the lead is 15 for Otay Ranch, but they'll take it. 80 yards on the pitch and catch from Hawkins to Martin. Chris Martin is having himself an evening, folks. 29-14. Otay Ranch leading St. Augustine with 1 minute, 12 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter on PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the entire country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports, they live here.
80 yards on the reception by Chris Martin. As we mentioned, his 4th touchdown of the game. He got it going early with a 48-yard punt return for a score. Then a 23-yard touchdown reception, 18-yard touchdown reception, and an 80-yarder, the most impressive of them all, going up between 2 defenders, catching the ball at the highest point, and then forcing the defenders to run into each other, staying on his feet, and taking it the rest of the way, walking into the end zone for the score.
That was
wow,
just
yeah, impressive.
Very impressive, and not only that, but if Otay Ranch can put a coup and put up a win against St. Augustine, a team that has historically just been remarkable. They've run a great program there. Otay Ranch to come off a 5-5 season last year, to turn this season into 4-0 with 4 wins on the road, that would just be some sort of coup, Brian.
Pretty impressive stuff. And still on his feet, returning this one, making amends for a fumble earlier. Mitch Cohen takes it out near the 40-yard line. They'll give him the 39. Nice return there. Otay Ranch with the little pooch kick method, and that time the Saints made him pay as Cohen took it out close to the 40-yard line.
I didn't see Dominic Morgan out there either, Brian, so I think he might be shut down for the rest of this game. Hopefully not a re-injury, just coming back today, his first game.
We'll see if he's out there on the defensive side for St. Augustine. Not in at receiver right now. Right now it's Ethan Sanchez and Ryan Harris, but the handoff will go to Francois Sims, and Sims loses the football. Nice job of falling on it and recovering the ball for St. Augustine was offensive lineman Cole Habib. Habib saw that ball on the ground, realized he needed to jump on it, and his team keeps it. Gain of 3 on the play. 2nd down and 7 coming up for the Saints.
Hard to blame Sims for that fumble. He went end over end on that tackle.
And Frank Buncombe is in at receiver for the Saints. I think we're going to have an illegal substitution against St. Augustine as Harris walked off the field, and that is going to be the call. And Buncombe walked in at the receiver spot. You can't do that after the huddle was broken. But the fact that Buncombe is out there in the stead of Dominic Morgan makes me wonder, like you were saying, if Morgan's down for the count this evening.
That would be another bad loss for St. Augustine.
So 2nd down and 7 becomes 2nd down and 12. 13 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. A receiver to either side, 2 tight ends. Hudson dropping back to pass. Looking for a block. He's going to have to scramble, and he's drilled. He loses the football once again. Another huge hit by Otay Ranch. There's a scrum on the field to see who's got it. The Mustangs came to hit today, and they are doing a great job of it. Otay Ranch has the football, and JoJo Hudson paid the price.
And we've seen him do that so many times in this game that it's been an issue for the Saints. Hudson, it seems like whenever he gets hit, he just has a tendency to drop the ball. And that's going to be a huge issue they're going to have to work on going forward.
Francisco Solis came up with the recovery, and the officials are motioning that it's Otay Ranch ball. They're also motioning that the quarter is over. So after 3 quarters of play, it's the Otay Ranch Mustangs on top of the St. Augustine Saints 29-14 on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
And don't forget to stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show, where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all of the action from this ball game. It'll be coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Brian Vilvin and Andrew Lockard at Mesa College, where the St. Augustine Saints have just turned the ball over once again to Otay Ranch, and the Mustangs looking to make this a comfortable margin. They lead by 15 now, looking to add to it as we get ready to start the 4th quarter. And what's the big key here for the St. Augustine defense? I think they've got to get a turnover, Andrew.
You got to force a turnover, and I think we've seen that a couple times in this game work out successfully for the Saints. There's been a lot of turnovers on both sides. But they're going to have to force a turnover, and they're going to have to put up some scores pretty quick because they're running out of time.
Hawkins pitches it to Williams over the right-hand side. Anthony Williams still on his feet down across the 20-yard line. 15 yards on the pickup on 1st down. And they continue to move the football. Nice job by Otay Ranch. They've really solidified themselves here in the 2nd half as the more physical football team.
Absolutely, especially the hits they've been applying defensively and then offensively. Dawkins et al., they've just been remarkable. They've held on to possession of the ball, and they've just been driving the ball forward.
1st down and 10 from the 20. Hawkins has Williams behind him, man in motion right to left. That's Martin. Martin's going to get the handoff over the left-hand side, and it takes 3 defenders to get him down. If you're St. Augustine, you got to be worried every time number 10 touches the football.
Yeah, and in this scenario, I think there's 2 things that Otay Ranch is trying to do. They're trying to eat up time off that clock as much as possible, and they're trying to put up another score. And if they do that, this game may just fall out of the reach of the Saints.
Clock moving just under 11 minutes. 4th quarter. 2nd down and 11 for the Mustangs. Dede Cunningham in at fullback for Otay Ranch. They're going to fake the pitch and instead hand it off to Cunningham. Cunningham gets a couple of yards down to the 19-yard line where it'll be 3rd down and 9 for the Mustangs, but they're just happy that that clock continues to run, 10.5 minutes and counting.
Every second they take away off the clock is making it that much harder for the Saints to come back. Like I said, now they're in a 3rd down situation. I imagine they're going to be looking for the pass play here. And if that's the case, they can end up awfully close to that end zone, if not in it.
We've got to keep an eye out on Mr. Touchdown, Chris Martin, on the far side of the field, being defended a one-on-one on that far side. And Tristan Juarez is in at defensive back in place of Dominic Morgan. So a short evening for Morgan as he doesn't make it into the second half. Got to hope that he's okay. Just such an explosive player for the Saints. You hate to see him go down.
Absolutely. Even in his limited play here tonight, we saw him make some great plays, especially as a defensive back. So they'd hate to lose him on top of all the other injuries they've incurred here tonight.
And Otay Ranch, they'll actually almost gladly take that 5-yard penalty as the clock started again, and they got a fresh few seconds. This time they pass it incomplete. Quentin Bell went up, looked like with just one hand trying to catch that ball. Might have had a better shot with a couple up there, and I think Kyle Hawkins will maybe get into him a little bit there on the sideline. Ask him why he didn't go up with 2 hands, but it'll bring up 4th down and very long to go for the Mustangs, who are going to attempt a 41-yard field goal. So we've already seen Andres Burgoyne hit one from 38. Now he's going to attempt it from 41. We'll see if he's got the distance.
It's going to be a big one.
The snap is there. The hold is good. The kick is blocked, and it's recovered. Still loose, but finally recovered by St. Augustine, and that's the danger, kicking a long field goal. If you miss it, the other team gets the ball at the 20-yard line, but if it gets blocked and recovered, they get it where they picked up the football and ran it to. So Nicholas Allard picked that one up, rushed it all the way out to the 47-yard line. And St. Augustine, all of a sudden, look at that. They've got great field position. It's only a 2-score game.
It was Frank Buncombe with the block. He's been doing an excellent job getting blocks in there.
That's the second time he's blocked a kick, huh?
Exactly.
Blocked an extra point earlier.
Well, I scored in that first one. I'm not sure if that's official, but it's good enough for me. And then that ball changed hand a couple times before it ended up being recovered by the Saints. So a great turn of events for them. And now look at their field position.
And we've got a false start by the offensive line as we've got a new quarterback into the game, the sophomore Thomas Goodridge under center for St. Augustine. On that last series, JoJo Hudson took a tremendous hit where he lost the football, so got to hope that Hudson's okay, but the backup Thomas Goodridge will be called into action. So, again, so many youngsters being called into action here for St. Augustine, 9.5 minutes to play in the game. They're already without their starting running back in Tyler Herberger, their starting receiver in Dominic Morgan, and now their starting quarterback in JoJo Hudson, all out to injuries. Goodridge under center, looking to throw, throwing deep over the left-hand side, and it's caught. Completion, still on his feet across the 20 and down to the 11-yard line is Dominic Morgan. So just like that, don't tell me I'm not playing today. Dominic Morgan with a huge reception, and it gets these Saints fans alive, and it gives them 1st down and 10 inside the red zone.
And I want to offer an alternative theory, Brian, that perhaps JoJo Hudson is not down for injuries. He did cause quite a few turnovers. So I think that in the alternative rather than injury might be what's going on there.
Either way, Goodridge in there, and Goodridge with a pass to the corner of the end zone. What a catch! No way did he catch that football. Ethan Sanchez with one hand. The other hand was being grabbed by the defender, and somehow he came down with it. I think this one's going to stand.
Goodridge just made that look easy. His team's been struggling on offense all night, and then on 2 plays, he just turns the whole team around.
2 pass attempts and a touchdown for the sophomore Thomas Goodridge. Ethan Sanchez pulling that one in from 11 yards in a circus catch. St. Augustine's right back in this one.
And there's still a flag out on the field over there. I don't see a penalty indicated, however. And they'll just scoop it right back up.
I think it was implied that that was pass interference, considering Sanchez only had one arm available to him, but the fact that he still caught the ball, they'll decline that one, no problem. And St. Augustine right back in it. What a turn of events. In 3 plays, you got a blocked field goal, a deep pass, and then a touchdown pass. So in 3 plays, St. Augustine went from almost trailing by 3 scores to now it's a 1-possession game. Little bit premature there by Dede Cunningham. He almost caught the snap.
that was pretty flagrant on his part.
Not a very tough one to see, huh?
No, you're right. He almost caught the snap.
That would have been something. Well, we've seen pretty much everything else this evening. That wouldn't
why
surprise
not?
me. And now that the ball's at the 1-yard line, 1.5-yard line, St. Augustine's going to take the offense out there. They think they need to get a 2-point conversion at some point, so, hey, might as well take the attempt from 1.5 yards out rather than 3 yards out. But the risk you run here if you're Coach Sanchez is if you don't get it, it's still a 2-possession game. That's why most teams elect to go for 2 later just to extend the game, make sure it's only a 1-possession game. But, hey, you've got 1.5 yards here. You've just moved the ball 50-plus yards on this possession in 2 plays. You got to imagine you can get 1.
We've seen just about everything else, so, why not?
Sims in it running back, Goodridge at quarterback. Sims is going to get the call, and he gets stuffed short of the end zone, but we've got a penalty flag on the field, and then we've got more penalty and more flags. Everyone who's got laundry out there is throwing it. Let's see how we get this thing sorted out. For the time being, it appears that St. Augustine is short and won't get the 2-point conversion, but there's a penalty on just about every player on the field, so we'll see what the officials decide to do here.
I'm not sure they really...
We've got holding the initial call against St. Augustine. That one is going to be declined.
Okay.
And then we've got a personal foul against the Mustangs. And that one will be enforced at some point. Don't know if the penalties will offset, or if the personal foul was a dead ball foul, then the 2-point conversion should be no good and the penalty should be enforced on the kickoff, and I think that's what's going to happen. But a gamble does not pay off for St. Augustine as they still now trail by 2 scores. So it was a good thought, but if you don't get those points, then you got your back up against the wall. 8:49 to play in the 4th quarter.
Well, 8:49 is still plenty of time to put up 2 scores. I think a lot is going to depend on this next drive by the Mustangs. If they can eat up a lot of clock here, they're going to put the Saints in a real precarious situation. However, if they just get stuck by the Mustangs' defense, then, that puts the offense in a much better position to put up that point deficit.
Well, now if you're St. Augustine, you trail by 2 scores, you're going to get 15 yards added after the personal foul penalty here on the kickoff. So do you attempt an extra point an onside kick? Well, now the officials are marking it backwards, so I guess the personal foul penalty was against St. Augustine, and it almost looks like they're enforcing 2 personal foul penalties. So we'll get this sorted out here at some point, folks. We're trying to interpret what the officials are doing here. And now I believe the official realized he was going in the wrong direction. So we've got the penalty against Otay Ranch. And the official signaled pass interference. So the pass interference on the touchdown is going to be enforced on the kickoff. Then the personal foul after the 2-point conversion attempt, is also enforced. So now we've got 30 yards of penalty against Otay Ranch on this kickoff, and St. Augustine's kicking off from the 30. Might as well onside kick here. You really have absolutely nothing to lose. A pooch kick is an onside kick at this point, unless they decide to enforce some more penalties, and then they're not kicking off from the 30. That's anyone's guess right now, but as it stands, it looks like St. Augustine will be kicking off from the Otay Ranch 30-yard line. Another thing I've never seen before. Andrew, we're seeing a lot of really interesting things going on.
This is one for the books. This is definitely going down as one of the strangest games I've ever seen played.
And indeed, St. Augustine will be kicking off from the 30-yard line. The Otay Ranch 30-yard line.
Why not just kick it through the uprights? I mean,
well, at this point, they would take it to the 20-yard line, so might as well onside kick, and then you guarantee that the worst that happens is the 20-yard line.
This is an officiating nightmare. I mean, I've never seen a scenario like this. I didn't know there could be.
Well, the officials are doing a nice job. It's just some interesting calls here.
Yeah.
Who's going to kick the ball off? There is that onside kick. The ball's floating around and out of bounds.
Nearly picked up along the line. That was Kyle Daly who had...
So, wait, shouldn't there be a penalty flag thrown if the kickoff went out of bounds? The ball shouldn't just be placed right at the 18-yard line. I think we're going to get a penalty, and instead Otay Ranch should have the ball around the 35, 40-yard line. I don't see the coaches complaining, but if you kick the ball out of bounds, I don't care where you kicked it off from. There should be a penalty enforced, right?
I'm getting a headache.
Apparently not.
That's my understanding of the rules, but
well, we'll go with not.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be first down and 10 from the 18-yard line for Otay Ranch. Maybe the ball was touched. That's got to be the
who touched
explanation. Somebody?
Okay.
I'm not sure. We'll just go.
A player
first
to be
down
named
and 10.
later.
First down and 10 for Otay Ranch. And we've seen it all so far tonight, but 8:49 to play in the fourth quarter. Otay Ranch with a 9-point lead, and they pitch the ball to Anthony Williams. We're back to playing football. Great push up front by the St. Augustine defense led by Patrick Dixon. And Otay Ranch loses 4 yards on the play.
Well, this field position, I think the Saints have a strong opportunity here to not only stuff the drive of the Mustangs, but if you're forcing the Mustangs to put a punt at the kind of field position they're at, that's going to yield pretty good field position for you. And that is supposing that they can stop the offense of the Mustangs. So we'll see how this develops.
Well, we've had the Mustangs muff a punt, and we've had St. Augustine block a couple of kicks. So Otay Ranch really wants to move the ball. And they get the ball to the man who can do it, Chris Martin. I'd throw the ball his direction every time if I was the Mustangs. Chris Martin just has a nose for the football, and he's got hands made of glue. First down, Otay Ranch.
And he had double coverage out there as well and still managed to go up and get that ball.
They've been double covering him the entire game, and it has not mattered. Chris Martin with all of the touchdowns for Otay Ranch, just doing it all, and they get a huge first down. The clock continues to roll. 7:50 to play here in the fourth quarter. Now I got to think you keep the ball on the ground.
I think so. I think that's the safe bet at this point in the game. You're going to keep running the clock.
Williams with the pitch, cuts it back up the middle. He'll pick up a yard, but the clock will continue to run. And you might as well keep it on the ground because you know third down, you can just throw the ball to Chris Martin, and he's going to come up with what he needs for that first down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where he is on the field.
Second down and 9. 7:14 to go, clock ticking away. If you're a St. Augustine fan, it feels like the clock is moving in hyperspeed, and it's going in slow motion if you like the Mustangs. 35-yard line. Hawkins under center. Cunningham in at fullback, and Cunningham's going to get the call. He gets 5 yards, and it's going to bring up third down and 4, but a nice little call there. That's the second time we've seen Cunningham get that dive play. They don't use a fullback every time, but when they have, it's been effective for Otay Ranch.
Yeah, a little bit of a different-looking offense for Otay Ranch, and it turns out to be successful. And they've already chewed off at least half a minute off the clock here. They're going to eat a little bit more of it. So this is a successful drive either way for Otay Ranch.
6:20 to play in the fourth quarter. Third down and 4. Hawkins hangs onto the football, makes a man miss. Moving forward, going to be close. What a tackle. Great play by Frank Buncombe to keep Hawkins short of the first down.
I think he's going to end up about a yard short.
That was close, and it took that great tackle in order to keep him from getting there. Buncombe just grabbed Hawkins by the legs and pulled him back a couple of yards. So nice defensive play. And with a punt here, this is a chance. If you're St. Augustine, you got to send the house, try to block this one. 6:08 left to play. The clock stopped briefly for a little injury there, but it should be moving again. The clock hasn't started moving yet. The officials, I don't think they've noticed that the clock isn't running. The coaching staff for Otay Ranch is yelling out on the field to try to figure out why. And with that whistle, the clock starts moving. St. Augustine looks like they're bringing a lot of pressure. Carlos Medrano, the punter for Otay Ranch, he stands with his feet on the 27-yard line. The Mustangs very smart here. They want to run all the time off that they can, so they're going to get word from the officials when it's time to snap the ball. The rush is on, the snap is low, and they're going to lose the football. St. Augustine going to try to pick it up, and it's Francois Sims, the freshman, coming on top of it, and we've got a penalty after the play for Otay Ranch. Zachary Hyman came in and smashed one of the St. Augustine players well after the play. So St. Augustine's going to have it down inside the 10-yard line. Not a smart penalty, and the special teams woes in the kicking game for Otay Ranch continue. St. Augustine right back in this game.
That play could not have gone much worse for the Mustangs. Obviously, the snap went sour, got picked up by the Saints, but then the penalty afterwards just puts them in a real bind here. It's now 5.5 minutes left on the clock, 2 scores away. Things are starting to look on the up and up for the Saints.
Thomas Goodridge still in at quarterback for St. Augustine. Francois Sims is the tailback. Ryan Herberger, the fullback, ahead of him. 2 tight ends, 1 receiver to the far side. That's Ethan Sanchez. Goodridge under center. And he hands it off to Sims. Sims on the right-hand side. And he'll get a 1.5 yards down to the 8. Second down and goal coming up for the Saints. They trail by 9 points, 5 minutes, 20 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Time's still an issue for the Saints. They have their timeouts left, but they trail by 2 possessions. The clock now reads 5:05, still counting. Goodridge under center. He's going to throw. Throwing towards Sanchez. Sanchez already with a circus catch, and this one goes over his head, but it's going to be pass interference. A new set of downs for St. Augustine, and Otay Ranch has a couple of players down. They both get up, which is a good sign for the Mustangs, but St. Augustine's going to have first and goal after the penalty.
Been some real bad penalties for the Mustangs out here this last couple of plays. It's going to cost them big because the Saints are inching closer and closer, and now a new set of downs. They're sitting pretty right now, Brian.
The pass interference penalty puts St. Augustine that much closer to the goal line. And Andrew, you just talked about it. The play's getting a little bit sloppy out there on both sides, but especially in the recent moments, the Otay Ranch players getting some really bad penalties.
It's costly, and there are sloppy ones too, and unnecessary, especially the one after the whistle. When the play was dead, that was just an unnecessary penalty.
And it was right in front of the officials. Wrong spot to do that. Goodridge under center. Herberger fullback. Sims the back. Drops back to pass. Firing over the far side. Complete touchdown. Patrick Dixon, his first reception of the game. And it's a big one. Touchdown St. Augustine. And they're climbing right back in this one. 26 points for the Saints. 29 for Otay Ranch. They've got the extra point coming up here to try to make it a 2-point game. What a turn of events here. St. Augustine and Patrick Dixon finding the end zone. Thomas Goodridge comes into the game and throws 2 touchdown passes in 2 drives. Wow, the sophomore.
That's incredible, and like I said, he's almost making it look easy after his team struggled so much in the first half.
Nick Sinclair puts the extra point through the uprights. It's a 2-point game, 29-27, with 4:50 to play in the fourth quarter. Otay Ranch leading St. Augustine on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
And today's game is brought to you by California Printing Consultants, your one-stop printing source for all of your printing needs. Call CPC toll-free at 866-484-4039. That's 866-484-4039, or visit their website at www.cpcfirst.net for your next printing project. Also see CPC on the St. Augustine team page. That's at playonsports.com, and click on the CPC icon. Online print buying has never been this easy.
Brian Vilvin and Andrew Lockard coming to you live Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com. And we've been covering games across the nation today. And I don't know if any has been as exciting, as dramatic, and as interesting as this one here in San Diego between two of the top teams in the section. And it's coming right down to the wire as Nick Sinclair puts another one into the end zone for a touchback. Otay Ranch will start off at their own 20. 4 minutes and 50 seconds to play. It's a 2-point Mustang lead, and still anybody's game.
Well, it's going to be another critical drive by the Mustangs. They've seen their lead whittled away at, now only up 2 points. So a field goal, even just a field goal by the Saints, can turn the tide of this game. So it's going to be an important drive for the Mustangs to put up another score and just try and keep this ball out of the hands of the Saints.
The timeout situation for these two teams, for the Otay Ranch Mustangs, they've got all three. The St. Augustine Saints also with all their timeouts. So timeout's not an issue, but the clock definitely one for the Saints. They trail by 2. Handoff Williams. Williams tries to shake a defender, but he can't shake them all. That's big Robert DeCourt in there making the tackle for St. Augustine, being helped by Patrick Dixon, who just had that touchdown. When you've got the big fellas, Dixon and DeCourt, 6'3" and 6'4", making plays, it's tough to run by those guys.
Absolutely.
4 minutes, 22 seconds to play, fourth quarter. Clock running, Hawkins in the shotgun. He's got Williams, the lone back. 2 receivers, both sides, no tight ends. Hawkins calls his own number, and he's got some space. He's drilled about the 26, but keeps moving forward all the way out to the 28-yard line, where it's going to be a much more manageable 3rd and 2 for the Mustangs. St. Augustine will burn one of their timeouts with 3:59 to play in the fourth quarter. And Andrew, if you're St. Augustine, you got to call that timeout expecting to get a stop here. So if you're Coach Sanchez talking to your Saints players, what are you telling them here on 3rd down, how important this play really is?
Well, this is huge. This might be one of the turning points of the game. It could go in anybody's favor at this point. As I mentioned, the Saints only 3 points away from not only tying this game, but putting themselves in the lead. That would be huge. That would be an incredible fourth quarter turnaround for the Saints. But if they keep this drive going, if the Mustangs keep this drive going, they can eat up clock, they can maintain their lead, and hopefully put up another score, even just a field goal. Anything helps at this point, but they're going to have to make this 3rd down, because if they have to punt it away, they're going to put up a whole lot of time left on the clock for the Saints.
And we've seen how interesting the kicking game can be on both sides here. As we've had Otay Ranch run a punt back for a touchdown. We've had St. Augustine block 2 punts, block an extra point, and block a field goal. So we know they can get back there. So if you're Otay Ranch, you do not want to face 4th down here deep in your own territory. So this play right here could be the factor in who wins this ball game. 2 yards to go for the first down for Otay Ranch. Hawkins under center. He's got Williams with him, and St. Augustine jumped off sides. We'll see if there was drawn offsides by an Otay Ranch player. Otherwise, this is going to be a free first down for the Mustangs. Against the defense, a silly, silly mistake there for St. Augustine. They'd like to have that one back, but a fresh set of downs. At least the clock is stopped for St. Augustine, but Otay Ranch has first down now, and with 3:59 to play, if they run the ball a couple more times, St. Augustine's going to be forced to burn timeouts, or else that clock's going to continue rolling. No 2-minute warning in the high school game. Hawkins has 2 tight ends. Hands it off to Williams right up the middle. Williams can't find much space. Brought down about a yard after the line of scrimmage at the 34. Met by a host of Saints. Nice sportsmanship out there by Alex Valenzuela, helping Patrick Dixon off the ground. Those two guys have been fighting each other all game long. You like to see out there.
Oh, I love to see it. People helping people is a beautiful thing. But more importantly, at this point in the game, you usually see temper starting to flare, especially when it's this close. Your competitive nature just picks up. So to see two guys out there just behaving as gentlemen and scholars that they are is great to see.
Sportsmanship, a huge key in high school athletics, and you don't see enough of it, as it looks like Williams is going to throw the halfback pass, throws it down deep, and it's incomplete. Nice defense being played by Dominique Morgan. We wrote him off earlier as injured and missing the rest of this game, and he's been out there making huge plays for St. Augustine. A gutsy call by Otay Ranch, but that stops the clock with 3:08 to play. St. Augustine didn't have to burn a timeout. Now it's 3rd down and long, and the clock stopped.
Well, this is going to be another big play. I mean, they're a little further ahead on the field than they were last go-around. But in this position, you know, they definitely want to pick up this first.
3rd down and 9 to go. Huge play. Kyle Hawkins in the shotgun. Drops back to pass, looking over the right-hand side, and it's incomplete, nearly intercepted. He threw it toward Chris Martin. I would too. Seems like Martin catches everything, but now we've got another 4th down and long punting situation for Otay Ranch. We'll see if they can get one off.
Well, I think they're going to have to punt here. The question is, Brian, can they get the punt off? We've seen a lot of problems with the special teams out here today. We were predicting early on special teams could be a factor in this, and that has turned out to be the case.
Well, rather than Carlos Medrano punting for the Mustangs, they're going to have Chris Martin back there, so Medrano's had some problems catching the low snaps. I think they think Chris Martin's got the best hands on the team. He'll do a good job of actually catching this one. It's a high snap, but Martin gets it, gets the punt off, very important, gets an Otay Ranch bounce from midfield all the way down close to the 35-yard line. It'll stop dead on the 35, so a really nice punt. 31 yards on the punt for Chris Martin. More importantly, he got it off and changed the field position. Now St. Augustine's going to have to drive it all the way down the field with 2:49 to play and only a couple of timeouts.
Now, the punt itself wasn't that strong. I think it landed right about midfield, but it got a really favorable bounce for Otay Ranch, so it all worked out. And I think that long snap has definitely been an issue for Otay Ranch. Martin had to go up about a foot off the ground just to grab that ball.
Thomas Goodridge will try to lead a game-winning drive here with 2:49 to play, 2 timeouts. Trailing by 2. Screen pass. Set up and complete. Still on his feet and moving down the field. I believe that's Ryan Harris. And Harris takes the ball near midfield. Instead, it's Tim Chapman. Sorry about that. The senior Chapman, a defensive back, comes in there on offense and gets a big reception. 1st down across midfield to the 49-yard line. 2:30 to play. The sophomore Goodridge leading the 2-minute drive. He's got 3 receivers to the near side, a tight end to the far side. Drops back to pass, inside draw. Elijah Preston, and he's met at the line of scrimmage. That's going to be no gain, and the clock will continue to move. Not exactly what you want to see if you're St. Augustine.
And Otay Ranch at this point does not want to yield a single yard, because every yard that the Saints go forward, it puts them that much closer to kicking a field goal. A field goal can win it for them at this point.
Keep an eye on Dominique Morgan and Tristan Juarez on the near side of the field. 2 speedsters for the Saints. And the officials below the whistle dead. Timeout taken by Otay Ranch. So I think the Mustangs saw that the Saints brought some speed to the near side of the field, didn't like their matchups, and called one of their timeouts. They've got a few left, so they had a few left, so no bother in burning that one. You just definitely don't want to leave St. Augustine with those guys open, not being defended on the near side of the field. Good headsy timeout by Anthony Lexina, the head coach for the Mustangs. 1:51 to play in the 4th quarter. St. Augustine trailing by 2. The Mustangs of Otay Ranch have led the entire second half. They led by as many as 15. Now that lead is 2.
Quite the thriller going on here, Brian. It's going to come down to the very final moments, I think. But either way, the Saints are in a good position here. They just need to put themselves into field goal range to put up 3 points, put themselves 1 point in the lead. We were mentioning earlier, Brian, how just 1 point on that extra point attempt that didn't pan out, that could be dispositive in this game.
Thomas Goodridge under center, drops back to pass, being pressured, and they've set up the screen. It's complete, a tight end screen. And I believe that was Dixon. Instead, it was, still having a hard time seeing that number as we got a defender in front of him. It was indeed Patrick Dixon. I like the play, though. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 1 with 1:34 to play on the clock. But, hey, you pick up 8 yards and make it 3rd down and much more manageable. Right now, you've just got to keep possession and try to get into field goal range. We'll see what the outside of the range is for St. Augustine, but you got to figure if they get 10, 15 more yards in the next minute and a half, that they'll be within Nick Sinclair's range.
Absolutely, because at this point on the field, it's going to take some sort of incredible kick to make that happen from this range. So this is going to be a big stand for the Mustangs. If they can hold them here, force them to the 4th down, they either have to go for it or kick it. Either way, it's putting the Saints in a pretty precarious situation because they're running out of clock time quick.
The officials measuring, and it appears that St. Augustine is about a foot short of the 1st down. And this spot on the field reminds me of a couple of years back when Seamus McMorrow hit a section record-tying 58-yard field goal for St. Augustine. It was at the end of the first half of play, and he hit it going in the opposite direction, but everybody in the place erupted as if they had won the game. The team stormed onto the field, and it was a crazy scene. But I don't think we're going to see a 58-yarder hit here tonight on a crisp evening in San Diego. St. Augustine trailing by 2. Otay Ranch has led the entire second half. They need to get a defensive stand here. It's 3rd down and a yard for the Saints. They've got the bunch formation. Goodridge under center. And he's going to keep the football himself. He's close to the 1st down, but the spot is going to be the determining factor. He might be just short. And if he is, then the entire game will come down to 4th down. The officials have not stopped the clock yet. It continues to run while they're looking. St. Augustine wants them to stop the clock while they get this measurement, and it's going to be mighty close. 1:12 to play on the clock, 4th quarter, and this measurement is huge.
It's going to be awfully, awfully close, Brian. Initially, it looked like to me as if he had not made it. There's a lot of bodies in the way.
1st down, St. Augustine. Everybody on the edge of their seat there, but Saints fans rejoicing. Mustangs fans grumbling in disapproval of that spot. 1st down and 10 for the Saints at the 39-yard line of Otay Ranch. 1:12 to play. The clock should start again as soon as the official deems that it's in play. Coach Sanchez wants an explanation from the officials on something. He's not happy with what's going on right now, so the official will take a second and go talk to him on the far sideline. 1:12 to play on the clock. St. Augustine has 2 timeouts. Otay Ranch 1. If Otay Ranch can force a turnover, they can kneel this one out. If St. Augustine can gain 10, 15 more yards, they can attempt a field goal to try to win it outright. They haven't led in the second half. They led most of the first half until 7 seconds remained when Otay Ranch took their first lead of the game. And now we've got a timeout taken by Otay Ranch. So the Mustangs saw what St. Augustine came out in, and they want a timeout. That's their final timeout. Excuse me, they have 1 left. misinterpreting the scoreboard there, but Otay Ranch has a timeout left. St. Augustine with a couple. And it's going to be first down and 10 to go from the 39-yard line. Folks, we want to remind you to stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show where we will select our player of the game. And there's a lot of candidates out there on the field right now. The game's still in the balance, so player of the game absolutely up for grabs here in the last minute 12. So we'll select our player of the game. We'll wrap up all the action from here, and we'll have a live interview with that player of the game. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Andrew Lockhart joining me. I'm Brian Vilvin. It's first down and 10 to go for St. Augustine at the Otay Ranch 39-yard line. A minute 12 remaining. 2 timeouts, St. Augustine, 1 timeout, Otay Ranch. A field goal would win it for the Saints. They want to get it a lot closer before they attempt one of those. Thomas Goodridge, the sophomore, in at quarterback. The running back is a freshman, Elijah Preston. Goodridge drops back to pass. He throws the swing to Preston. Preston trying to find the sideline, and he's going to be stopped just short of the out of bounds. 5-yard pickup on the play. Great tackle by Jordan Peterson, a senior captain for this Otay Ranch defense, and great job by Peterson keeping the back Preston in bounds. Forces St. Augustine to use their second timeout. They've got 1 remaining. 1 minute exactly left on the clock.
Either way, Brian, I think we've witnessed an extraordinary game. I think it has been so off the cuff, so unusual. Just everything that could have possibly happened happened. There's stuff I saw in this game that I don't think I would expect to ever see. And it's just been incredible. And both teams have really necked it out in this last quarter. And it's all coming down to the wire. There's been so many big plays, so many extraordinary things happening. It's been something to see.
And we've still got a minute left. A lot more fireworks to be had. The Otay Ranch fans hope that this one ends on a turnover or some type of play in their favor. St. Augustine hoping it comes down to a field goal or just an outright touchdown here to win this one.
And they're just only, like you mentioned, maybe 5-10 yards short of field goal range, which is ironically right around the first down line. So we'll see what happens.
Second down and 5 to go from the 34-yard line. The running back is Sims, also a freshman. The freshman rotation working out well for St. Augustine. The sophomore Thomas Goodridge under center. Goodridge drops back to pass, being pressured, and he just gets rid of the football. We got to have intentional grounding, and we do. Great pressure being applied by Angel Tegardine and Justin Doughton for Otay Ranch, and they had the quarterback, Thomas Goodridge, within the grasp, and he fired it away. So now they're definitely out of field goal range. It's going to take a lot more than 5 yards to get back in that range. 54 seconds remain in the contest. St. Augustine only has 1 timeout left. It's a loss of down on the intentional grounding, so they've got 3rd down and 21 yards to go. A huge, huge play and a wild turn of events for Mesa College.
And that hurts especially because that pushes them that much further out of reach of a field goal, which is just what they need to put themselves in the lead.
Goodridge under center. He's got 2 receivers to the far side, Tristan Juarez and Dominique Morgan. It's Ryan Harris to the near side and Patrick Dixon at tight end. They set up the screen to Elijah Preston, and he gets across midfield, and he's driven out of bounds at the 45. The officials say he's inbounds. They'll give him the 44, so it's going to be 4th down and 15 to go for St. Augustine. They've got to burn their final timeout. The game will come down to this play for the moment. 4th down and 15 to go for St. Augustine. 39.2 seconds remaining.
High drum on the gridiron, huh, Brian?
Absolutely.
Like you said, this last play is going to determine the outcome of this game. St. Augustine can pick up the 1st down. They can
They got to get to the just past the 29-yard
Right.
line. The 28.5-yard line will give them, even the 29 would probably be good enough for a first down right now. So you've got to pick up 15 yards to extend the game, and that's about field goal range as well. So right now they've got to, whatever you got in the bag of tricks, and you know that Otay Ranch is going to be bringing the pressure, so the sophomore Thomas Goodridge is going to have to get rid of the ball quickly. What do you try to set up here? Do you try to set up another screen, or you try to just throw a fly route to one of these speedsters on the outside?
I don't think you can do a screen. I think that's too risky with the kind of yardage they have to put up here. So I think you just got to go a deep route. Hope for one of the speedsters to pick it up.
Either that or you send Ethan Sanchez down, give him the wide side of the field and just throw it up there. You know, he's got great hands, but he is not out on the field. So you got to imagine he's probably not the intended target here of Thomas Goodridge. On 4th down and 15 from the 44-yard line. The line to get is the 29 for St. Augustine. Goodridge takes a snap, drops back to pass, looking left, firing left, and it's incomplete, out of bounds. No penalty flags on the field, and the Otay Ranch Mustangs are going to take over on downs. 34 seconds left to play. They lead by 2, and they're a couple of knees away from winning this ball game.
And that was a nail biter, but that pass was just not in the place where it needed to be. It came down to that one final play the whole game. It just such a close game, such evenly matched teams, and Otay Ranch, they're probably going to put up a big win here, Brian.
The Mustangs will just take one knee, should do it. It might take a couple. 34 seconds left on the clock, but no timeouts remaining for St. Augustine. The Saints showing sportsmanship. They know this one's over, so instead of fighting, they shake hands with the Otay Ranch players. And for the Otay Ranch Mustangs, they open the season with 4 straight road games and 4 straight road victories. None of them harder fought than this one against a mighty undefeated St. Augustine Saint team. Congratulations as the clock winds down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Otay Ranch Mustangs have defeated the St. Augustine Saints. Andrew, that was quite a battle.
That was a battle. It came down right to the very bitter end. And if you look at this, a 5-5 team, the Mustangs last season against a team that didn't lose in the regular season, the Saints. What a coup. What a beginning of the season for the Mustangs. And what a weird game, but the Mustangs, they managed to come out on top.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to stay tuned to PlayOnSports.com for our post-game coverage. We'll wrap up all the action in our post-game show, and we'll have an interview with our player of the game. That's coming up in just a few moments. Once again, the Otay Ranch Mustangs have defeated the St. Augustine Saints 29-27 on Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP. can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the PlayOn School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP. We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the PlayOn School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP. We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the PlayOn School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP. We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the PlayOn School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome back to the PlayOnSports.com post-game show. I'm standing here with our player of the game, Chris Martin of the Otay Ranch Mustangs. 4 touchdowns, all 4 touchdowns for your team this evening. Tell me what was going through your mind tonight.
Well, I got that first punt return, and I was really excited about that one. But, when I came across on it was actually kind of a broken down play. It was supposed to be a slant and stop, and I kept going, and Kyle hit me. And, they just started to come, but I couldn't do it without my teammates. They're a big part of, getting, me being able to get the ball in the first place. So.
Well, it seemed like, you had that punt return for a touchdown that really got your team back into the game, tied the score up. But then on your 3 receiving touchdowns, you were being double-teamed on every single one of those plays. How do you go up and it seem like you get the ball at the highest point, or what are you trying to do when you're being double-teamed?
I definitely, first I want to get past the first guy. That's definitely the first thing on my agenda. But the second thing is definitely getting up and getting to the highest point, because I feel like with my athletic ability, I could be able to make those plays, and I could be able to help my team out, by getting up there.
Well, you guys are in the midst of an undefeated season right now, 4-0 on the young season. You guys started all 4 games on the road. How tough is that as a team, knowing that your first 4 battles are going to be on the road and to kind of stay the course and end up 4-0?
It's definitely tough. You always want to have the home field advantage. You always want to have the 12th man. But I think our crowd did a great job of, traveling and coming out with us. Even when we went up to Lake Elsinore, I thought that was a big part of, our success. And I just think that we're battle tested. So when we get to the playoffs, this will be easy.
Well, you guys had a nice little 15-point cushion there going into the fourth quarter, and then St. Augustine started to kind of mount a comeback.
What was going through your mind in those final few minutes when you guys needed to start making some plays on defense to wrap this one up?
I was just thinking that we need to stop, and once we get the stop, we can start celebrating after. But we need to definitely kill some of the momentum, and the missed pass at the end was huge. It was amazing. It was like a fresh breeze of air. Actually, it was great. I loved it.
Well, the celebration can rage on now as Otay Ranch has defeated St. Augustine 29-27. The Mustangs undefeated 4-0 on the season. Congratulations once again to Chris Martin, our PlayOnSports.com player of the game. Folks, don't go anywhere. The post-game show will continue in just a moment.
Hi, Mom.
Welcome back to San Diego, California, and the PlayOnSports.com postgame show. I'm Brian Vilvin alongside Andrew Lockard, and we just saw the Otay Ranch Mustangs defeat the St. Augustine Saints 29-27 in a back-and-forth contest. One of the strangest games that we've seen, but very explosive. A lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball. Otay Ranch had just enough to get it done tonight.
They did, and it came down to some very crucial plays in the fourth quarter. I don't like looking up to you like this, but it was a nail-biter. It came right down to the end. A couple big plays, but especially the change maker was Chris Martin, who just did an excellent job. I think he caught just about everything that went up to him. Some balls that were impossible to catch. He just made incredible grabs.
Chris Martin was our player of the game, and on the evening he had 4 touchdowns. The first one, a 48-yard punt return for a score. He followed that up with receiving touchdowns of 23 and 18 yards, and then in the second half, an 80-yarder that ended up putting them up for good.
Yeah, he was, like I said, he was the change maker out there, and to go up and put up a win on the road against a program like St. Augustine, who is just historically an incredible team, didn't lose in the regular season last year. Otay Ranch coming off of 5-5 season. It's just an incredible win.
Well, St. Augustine has a lot to build on. They had a couple of injuries that they sustained here, but they stayed the course. The youngsters getting a lot of opportunities, and they played pretty well. Almost came back to win this one.
Absolutely. They stepped up big, and they put, especially on a couple drives, they were just doing an incredible job picking up the slack. One of the best players in the league, and much less this section, went down, and that's a huge loss for the Saints, but they stepped up to the plate when they needed to.
And for the Mustangs, now they're 4-0, still undefeated. They haven't been home yet, so you got to think it's only going to get better for the Mustangs as the season wears on. Where do they go from here?
Well, it's going to be a late homecoming, but I think they have so much momentum on their side now. The rest of the schedule is looking a little brighter, and they look forward to the home games and hopefully some more wins.
Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up from Mesa College and the PlayOnSports.com postgame show. Once again, the Otay Ranch Mustangs defeated the St. Augustine Saints 29-27. We'd like to thank you for joining PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football. Check our broadcast schedule page for more information on games throughout the country. For our producer, Jarrett Wright, for our videographer, Daryl Mazon, and my partner, Andrew Lockard, I'm Brian Vilvin saying so long, and thanks for joining us on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're going to come at you.
One shot.
one match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.